Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. With the 2019 elections approaching in Nigeria, the use of technology has once again become a focus of attention. This is due to the challenges facing the conduct of elections on the continent. These challenges have continued to push Africans to search for solutions in hopes of overcoming them, and technology seems to offer some ray of hope. Our guest on the program today, a digital media strategist, Tunde Badmus, is here to tell us more. So, Tunde, nice to have you on the program today again.
Thanks for having me again.
So let's start with the basics. Okay. In what ways can technology help in the 2019 elections?
Okay, so I think first thing first, what is technology? Technology is a simpler way of doing things, right? So, and I believe that's why INEC themselves has migrated into a GIS application which they currently use, right? So this GIS application can help them with mapping, can help them with geo-targeting, and all of this. So, but which I feel, for example, for the mapping aspect, I feel it can be improved because, for example, if I registered in Ogun State and I'm currently in Lagos at the time of elections, I'll be able to vote, right? So those are the kind of things that I think they can improve. But be rest assured, the application is perfect for the election 2019.
But just looking at it, how can we use technology and social media to strengthen the process of the election?
Okay, so I'll say this. This can be divided into two phases, pre the election and after the election. Pre the election is where INEC needs to do bulk of the work, right? And by now, if they don't have an expert, a digital expert in their team, I think they are missing the point because first things first, there's a whole lot of news that are going to be going on during that time. So you need to set up a special task force, right? You can call it a digital task force that will be on ground to help put out information as for everything people need to do. For example, on their website, as of now, I expect that there should be like an FAQ section where they can start putting out what people need to know, and the things, likely questions people might need to know during the time of, election.
So when we think social media, when we think technology, there's a notion that fake news comes with it. Fake news. How can fake news be tackled during this election period?
Okay, this is a global problem, right? And it didn't just start in Nigeria. And I think we should use the Osun State election as a case study. You realize that we had a certain celebrity posting pictures of live events as the election was going on, where people were stopped from being voting and all of that. So these kind of things will happen in 2019. There's a whole lot of news that will be going on that we are not sure if it's real or not. So by now, I think INEC should set up a platform. There are so many platforms that you can use to track news. For example, Google Alerts, right? So for just need to put in keywords concerning 2019 election in Nigeria. So for everything that is being said across any platform, there should be an alert that INEC gets. So if this is fake, they should be able to confirm it's fake. So before it gets out of hand, they put it out there and everybody knows it's fake or it's not fake, right? And I can tell you also as well that the platform owners are already working on something to ensure that they reduce the amount of news that goes out. For example, if the news has not been proven right, they would find a way to suspend that news. For example, Twitter is working on something like that. Facebook, Google, and all of them are all working on something because they are watching. Nigeria is like the biggest African country, right? So they are watching and they are very concerned about the progress of the 2019 election.
Okay, so a number of Nigerians have often wondered, why can't we vote electronically, considering the fact that we already have voters' data card? Okay,
so, right, we all know Nigerian youths, right? There's a certain attitude that come across sometimes. I can tell you for free that the majority of us will not stand on the queue to vote, right? Because of a lot of reasons, right? So I feel there should have been a sort of online voting. There is already electronic voting, right? Even the process I currently mentioned is an electronic form of voting. But I think there should also be an online kind of voting that can require, so it should be optional. You can decide to vote online or decide to go to the polling units and vote. And the bulk of the election of 2019 will be determined by the Nigerian youth. Hey, we are like 40% of the entire population. So I think that is something that...
online, doesn't that open it up to rigging and hacking?
Okay, yes, it can. So it's everything in total. once you can set up something like that, you have to get like actions that would, that would block any hackers, for example. So you need to employ hackers, for example, to check and hack any kind of news that any kind of anybody that's trying to hack the website, for example. So you need all of those things put in place. Otherwise, things will go out of hand.
Okay. Tunde Badmus, thank you for joining us on Network Africa. It's always a pleasure hearing from you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Finally on the program today, the National Emergency Management Agency has received a batch of 174 Nigerians who returned to the country after they were earlier stranded in Libya. The returnees comprise of 61 women, 3 of them pregnant, 91 men and 22 children, including 12 infants. They were received at the cargo wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport this morning by officials of NEMA's Southwest Zonal Office and other federal government agencies. While receiving the returnees, the acting zonal coordinator of NEMA Southwest Zone, Segun Afolayan, implored Nigerians to be wary of accepting get-rich-quick promises, especially when it involves leaving for any foreign country. Many of the returnees recounted their ordeal in Libya after they had abandoned their sources of livelihood back home for supposed greener pastures abroad. And that's it on the program this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Temiola Shubowale.